Welcome to the podcast for your spiritual growth.
Evolve,
Align,
and embrace.
I am Sophia.
And I'm Alex. Let's start.
Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our very first episode, and Alex and I are introducing ourselves today, just telling you guys who we are and how we transitioned into the new decade, into 2020. And with that, Alex is gonna also tell us a little bit about the magical nights, what they are, and why they're such a beautiful way to step into a new year. So I really hope you enjoy this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it.
We are Sophia and Alex, and this is our very first podcast ever that we're showing here to you guys. And Sophia, who are you? Do you maybe want to say a couple sentences about you?
Sure. So I'm German, actually. We're both German. I moved to the States about almost 5 years ago. And I am now a yoga teacher, spiritual coach, and I am a mom. So I have a almost 2-year-old son. And yeah, what else is there to say? I'm married, and I went into my spiritual development about 1 year ago. I really started to go deep, and before that already did my teacher training, my yoga teacher training. So that's when everything kind of started. Before that, I was a dancer and actress, so I've always been doing stuff with, I don't know, expressing myself, and therefore getting to know myself better. So I always was interested in deeper meanings of life and our existence of this earth, I could say. Yeah, I think that gives a good overview of who I am. I think. Alex, who are you?
It's interesting how, because it's totally true when you say, who am I? You could also say, I'm a human being who has the purpose of doing this and that, and this is all I have, right? But of course, in this world, we usually say what we do,
Yeah.
who we live with, and what we've been doing. I'm going to do that just like you. Actually, there are a lot of things very similar now that I listen to it again. And yeah, I've also until today worked as a dancer and as an actress, and we also got to know each other through studying at the same acting school, and also running into each other at the same dance studio, Berlin. Yeah, it's crazy. And then also I'm a yoga teacher, and I did my training just last year, and also I'm a mental coach, and did my training within the last couple of years, and I also studied sports. So I also, exactly like Sophia, have always been very into expression, physical expression, mental expression, through arts and through techniques like yoga and mental coaching. I live in Berlin since auch, which means also in German. I don't have a child yet. I have a lovely boyfriend who has a child, which is really interesting and lovely. And yeah, that's actually it, I guess. That's who I am. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And kind of met again on Instagram through we never really talked about that actually, through what we saw of each other. That's how I feel, how we both started communicating our spiritual path, our experiences on Instagram, and then we're watching each other, and then started talking. Actually more than we ever talked before.
We never really, we did talk, but never we got to know each other when I moved away.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting to see our paths cross now, because we are so, our lives, not the childhood part, but how we chose to live our lives is very similar. And I think that's why we resonated a lot with each other, and that's why we also came together and started this podcast, because we were like, we want to share all the tools that we learned on our journey so far with everybody else, because it's so powerful to know yourself and know how you can shift your energies and, I don't know, understand yourself better, in order to be a better human being on this earth, I think. So yeah, and today we wanted to talk about how we came into the new decade, into 2020, into the roaring 20s, how they say, and what our transition was into it emotionally. And Alex did on Instagram, she shared how she used 12 magic nights in order for her to like transition into the new year from 2019 to 2020. And I thought that was so powerful and really resonated with me, even though I didn't follow her every step of the way. Every time I saw her stories, it really just resonated with whatever I was doing independently without even knowing about those nights. So we thought it would be really fun to share a little bit about what it is. And so maybe for the next year, if you haven't heard of it yet, you can go ahead and follow these magic nights.
Yeah, definitely. Should I talk about the magic nights first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those magic nights actually are a time period within the transition time. It starts between on the 24th of December and goes until the 5th of January. And these magic nights are 12 nights, just like there are 12 months in the year. And those nights are the nights and days that are between the sun calendar and the moon calendar. And the moon calendar ends on the 31st of December, December, and the sun calendar ends on the 24th of December. And therefore, in Germany, we also say between the years, between Christmas and between working again after New Year's Eve is kind of the time of being between the years. And that's actually pretty, it's actually right when you think about it that way, that there are different kinds of years and different lengths, and those days are just the difference of that. And those 12 days are connected to the 12 months that are going to come to us in a year. And every single day you can do something that has to do with the next year. Plus you can just use the time, because it's very specific, to also just watch what happens that day and write it down, and then just check out if it has maybe something to do with the next year. So you can watch, but you can also actively do exercises on each day. First day is for January, second day for February, and so on. Yeah, and also those 12 nights are nights where it feels like there are windows open to different dimensions. So if you would be a person who only believes in the 3D dimension that we live in, and there are maybe even more dimensions than that, like the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and so on, then those dimensions are, it's more likely to tap into those dimensions, or that that people, that beings from those dimensions can tap into our world. It's very magical. And I don't know how you guys feel about this time, but I do feel different around in the magical nights between the years. And I believe what you resonated with is what I shared on Instagram. So every night or every day, I would share, okay, now is the third or the fourth or whatever night. And this night, the topic is, let's say for the third night, it's open your heart. Open your heart for your heart energy, and think about what you've been loving, whatever brings your heart to shine, and write down a wish for you for next year. Something like that is one of the exercises that I give. And also I write down some meditations that one can do every now and then that suits the topic of the day. And I wanted to share what the first night is about, because it helps us talking further on this podcast about what we want to talk about. So the first night, for example, to just give another example of all those nights, is the topic basics, and the to have the bottom formed, the root. On that day, you can focus on your personal foundation, also in your family, where you come from, the background, and also generally how you stand on the ground in your life. And you can just root yourself again, for example. And there's also meditation and sharing for that day, and some exercises you can do. Yeah. That's about the magical nights. And also, you guys know how when it's New Year's Eve and you feel like you want to wish for something new for the next year, it's freaking magical on New Year's Eve. It also says, I don't know which night it is. I think it's the 10th night. You have so much power to wish for something. The doors are really, really open on that day, on the birth of the new year, and even more than in the other days. But also all the other days, all those 12 days, have the doors wide open for your magic to set into the new year. And you can use that. You can use your power because the doors are open and there for you, and it can hear you somehow. Yeah, so that's why I think it's also a powerful tool for us to be creators, conscious creators of our own lives, to use. Yeah. And some people, like you, accidentally, not on purpose, sometimes check out what I wrote, and then they say, "Oh, I've done that today, anyways, Alex. I intuitively did that. What you wrote, what is to do on this night or on this special day of the magical nights."
Yeah, it's interesting, right, that it could just come to you, like, I don't know, I guess that's how it's created, because it came to people or to whoever created that in that way, and that's just like a natural way how the nights evolve or how we go through that transition. And talking about
it's very natural in some ways.
Yeah. As you said, like intuitively. And yeah, the transition, the beginning, so it's, you said from the 24th until the 31st is kind of like gearing up to that big opening, right? How did you feel, or what did you do in that time?
So I myself wanted to make a meditation every single day for those magical nights for people on Instagram. But for whatever reason, I never got to do it. Like around the 31st, we were out in a house on an island that didn't have Wi-Fi. Or I was super busy, or I was super emotional and I didn't feel like it. And so during that time, I turned inward a lot. And also I was home at my parents' place. So I was at my base where I was coming from. And I had time to ground myself. And since the last 3 months of my year 2019 didn't feel very safe, but inside of me very anxious. And I was worried a lot. I got ill a lot because I had stressful thoughts in my head. Especially that time around the transition felt very lovely. But it also felt lovely because I had a little bit of an event that took me into a different kind of trust into life that I probably didn't have before as much. I'm sure I didn't, because it changed something inside of me a lot. Um, when I left my boyfriend to go to my parents' house on the 22nd, I felt like, oh, I don't know, I feels like something is up, and I feel like I could be pregnant, and we were a little bit nervous about it and a little bit smiley about it. And I felt, and on the 23rd, when we had our first family get together and people were drinking wine and coffee, I felt like, okay, I can't deal with that. I have to know if I'm pregnant or not, because I don't want to be drinking all the time.
Yeah.
And on the 24th, I took a test. I went to the store to grab a test right before it got closed. Actually, after it closed, and she still let me in and sold me one. And it was positive, Jesus Christ. And I couldn't help myself but tell my sister and my mom, because I didn't want to be alone with that message. I mean, I could have called my boyfriend, but it's nice to have somebody who's around you to know. And I was nervous because of my dad, because he's not very open for my boyfriend, unfortunately. But I felt somehow that I was super surprised by me. I was very calm about it, and very like, oh yeah, that feels natural. Oh yeah, that feels nice. That's good. And the experience of not going crazy about it, about news like that, or super nervous, or super hysterically happy, or thinking about, oh my god, do I have enough money, we don't live together yet, what am I supposed to do? I didn't have all those thoughts. I felt like, yeah, it feels right. And also it taught me that I don't have to doubt my relationship anymore. In Berlin, there are a lot of people you can date, and there are a lot of opportunities in a lot of different ways, not only relationship wise, but there was just so many things going on in the city every single day. And this is how people go through life as well. And I was always asking myself, and my boyfriend also did, are we good for each other? Is this the right thing? And when I had this test and I was thinking, oh my God, we're both going to have a baby, I didn't feel 1 second negative about it. And so my transition, going back to that, with this experience, definitely was something very personally lovely, because I was pulled inside of me into a trust into life that I didn't have before, especially not the weeks and months right before Christmas. So around Christmas, I knew whatever happens, life gives gifts to me, and I don't know. No, there was no explanation. I just had a feeling of trust. I didn't know really why, but it was there. And that was magical for me. When I came back from my parents' house to my boyfriend's house, we took a test together, because it's fun to take a test together as well. It was negative, and then we took another test the next day, and it was mixed. And then around New Year's Eve, I was bleeding for a lot, like days and days. So I think it wasn't just a normal menstruation, but I don't know how you say in English. I lost the child, and but I wasn't very sad. I was thinking, because I told my mama, my mother, and she said, I think, you know what, your body was just rehearsing. And I totally believed that. And so it's like, okay, yeah, probably. Man, crazy. The only thing that I mean, of course I was a little bit upset, but I wasn't even crying once. I wasn't super sad, because I knew there's something happening between me and my boyfriend inside of me. And I gained trust again into life throwing wonderful things at me, and generally into life. And so whatever happens, I'm good. And yeah, that was actually the story. That was my transition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
a
felt
lot of things. A lot of,
mm,
like, it sounds, I don't know, losing losing a baby sounds so devastating and so
So sad.
sad.
Yeah. I just
But
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, but as you and we were talking before, so I knew the story before, but for the listeners, like, um I love how you and your mom put it, like your body was preparing and like trusting that it was perfect as it was. Like it didn't have to turn out differently. It was perfect as it was. And I mean, I don't want to take away if somebody had the same experience and maybe had the child for a longer time in their body, and they might have felt more emotional about it. And now I don't want to take that away from anybody. Like, of
Yeah.
course, it can be devastating, but like trusting life and knowing that it was right the way it was. Like, good things are going to happen and everything
Mm.
happens for a reason. Just kind of trust is so
Yeah.
beautiful when you have it, because then nothing can hit you really hard. It's really, you just take everything in that happens to you.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm sure things can still hit you really hard.
Of course. Yeah. And
But
that, yeah.
yeah, it's just nice to feel that somewhere, somehow, there is trust into my body and into life, and that there is something inside of me that's super grateful. Like, yeah, I'm super grateful for how the connection between me and my boyfriend changed through that, how it got deeper, how I got safer in myself and my body.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was so anxious before that, and I'm a different person since then somehow, and it's just really relaxing and peaceful. Yeah.
Yeah, you are, even if you don't have a child now, you are a mother in some way now through that experience, because you've got a glimpse of what it feels like, to, I don't know, for me also, since I have my child, I have so much more trust in life and I feel so much more
Yeah.
grounded. Yes, totally. And it's kind of like, this is life. We will never know what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
there's just no reason why we should be stressing about anything, because we can't control
Mm-hmm.
it anyways. So I guess that's
Mm,
what to take away from this experience also, right? It's like,
totally.
it's gonna happen how it's gonna happen. I'm
I
here
mean, if
to
it, yeah,
I'm here to ride the waves. That's all I wanted to
yes,
say.
yes, exactly. Especially when a child is not to be controlled. So
Yeah.
why thinking you can control it when it's in your tummy and it decides not yet? And yeah, I mean, um, it's another living being. You can't control it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My transition was, um I didn't have the same experience than you. But
Oh, why not? Common.
but it was fairly similar in the sensation of it. So I was traveling on the 24th back home from Europe. So it was a long trip and we got here and I was really exhausted, and I tried to like get into this, oh, I want to make a New Year's resolution and I want to know what the next year looks like for me, and I kind of wanted to step into this like preparation of the new year. But it didn't feel right. Like I felt like I don't want to plan anything. Like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
put a stamp on what I want to do, because I honestly just don't know. Like I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of plans or wishes or visions for my life in general, but for the new year, I don't. And I thought before the new year came, like I thought I'm gonna do like the crazy plan for 2020. I'm gonna do so much, and then when it came to do the resolutions, I was like kind of stuck within, and I felt like blocked in writing things down, and I felt like, you know what? I want to just trust the process of me
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever feels right. So I felt kind of like, yeah, I wanted, I don't know, I felt like I want to just see what comes and trust that too. Like I want to trust
Mm-hmm.
whatever comes to me. Um, so I also went into the new year also kind of, before that, also kind of anxious. I didn't really know where I was going. So I felt like I had to have a resolution. But then I just accepted the fact that I didn't want to make them. And I was like, let's just leave it to that and see what comes. And yeah, so I stepped into 2020 kind of being, the new year will come and I will be wherever I will be, and I will do my best every step of the way. But I don't want to put a goal and then kind of a goal that doesn't totally resonate with who I am. And if there would be something really authentic coming out of me that I want to achieve in 2020, great. But nothing came up. So I was like, okay, that's fine too. So it was kind of this accepting of where I am and that I don't know where I'm going right now. And that, yeah, so that was my process stepping into the new year.
So you were sitting, how was that exactly? You were sitting down to write resolutions a couple times during that period of time. And every single time you didn't really know what to write. So after a couple of times you realized, I'm not going to write anything. I'm not going to have a resolution.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was trying to write about it. I was even writing lists. I watched YouTube videos of productive people or people that I look up to, how they make resolutions, how they prepare for the new year and all of that stuff. And then I came to do it and I did write something down, but it didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel like, oh, this is actually what I want to do. It didn't feel like this feels so right and I'm so excited to do this. And then at some point I was like, just leave it. You don't have to do what everyone else tells you to do. You don't have to do what you expect of yourself. Just trust that it's gonna come in the right way, in the right time. And and that's how I stepped into 2020, like this trust. Simple trust. Yeah,
totally. I also was thinking, oh my God, I'm communicating the magical nights every day on Instagram. I should be doing them. And then there were some days where I was writing, I was doing my homework, but it didn't feel like, oh my God, I had so much fun. I feel
not aligned.
Like I want to do this. I was just doing it because I wanted to be a good person, right? You know how you watch those people and they say, and they're so successful and they say how they do all those things and you're like, oh, I should be doing that too to be successful like them. And you think, okay, I'm going to force myself to do it in order to become that person. But I really have to stop doing that. We really have to find an inner drive from the inside that's fun and light and really powerful.
Flow. Yeah, totally. And I felt like in 2019 I pushed so hard to do all the things that I was supposed to do, and at the end of 2019 I was so burned out from doing the things that I thought I should do that I did not I did it, but I wasn't in it when I was doing it. I wasn't really immersed into that activity. And while I still believe that having a morning routine and meditating and having a physical movement every day, I do believe that that's really helpful. But just doing it because you think you have to do it, that's not the point. Do it and really be with it, and then you can, from that you will learn, or you will find something and evolve and embrace and align, right? So
yeah, I was thinking, sometimes when I watch a radio show and people laugh really hard, it's super annoying for me to hear them laugh, because laughs somehow on earphones are not fun to hear. But it's just fun to laugh. I just can't help it. I have to laugh. When you have fun, it's a good sign to realize, okay, this is coming from the inside, and it's not coming because you want to do something that you think is the right thing to do.
Yeah. And of course there's a line between, sometimes you have to push yourself to do something, but it's when you're in the process of doing it, it's like I have to push myself to start doing something often. But when I'm in it, when I don't when I can't really flow with it when I'm in it already, then that's a sign that that's not the right thing to do right now. So like, yeah, it's, as you said, like when you don't have fun while doing it, or you don't enjoy the process, then what's the point?
Again, interesting to find the right balance for that.
And so, yeah, so that's how we got into 2020. But then things shifted, at least for me, when I came into 2020, when 2020 was happening. Things changed for me. Like,
and how did they change?
For me, it was like I felt like I needed a proper foundation, a proper like base of my life in general. Like, I felt like I want to create a life where I feel really grounded, where I feel really secure. And I felt the need to, and that's where resolutions, not resolutions really, but where things came up of, oh, that's the person I want to be. Oh, that's the things I want to do this year. It was really about like, how can I build a life around me and inside of me, so I can be really grounded in who I am and really, really stand in who I want to be. So that's where I realized, like, I want to do more fun things like dancing again. I want to like connect to myself more. I want to go out in nature more. I don't want to overwork myself. I want to find the balance. How can I make create a lifestyle where I can do all the things I want to do, but not overwhelm myself with like everything, but still be there for myself. So it was like really finding balance and creating a foundation for myself. And now we are recording this already being almost at the end of January. So I can say that I had a lot of ups and downs this month, a lot of ups and downs. But I feel like I have this month already created like such a strong, structure where I know every week kind of, I know how to manage my time and manage my energy in a way that brings out the best in me. And there's always, it's a work in progress, like always. But I feel like I'm starting this year really strong in myself. And that was my focus when January hit. So that's how I felt stepping into 2020. How did you feel?
When we talked in the new year, I felt exactly the same. No, I felt like, and I remember you agreeing on that. Like, the best for me right now is to look each and every day what I need for that specific day to feel happy and good and balanced that day. And I realized it's so much fun and so easy to just find one or two things every day where I'm like, if this is part of my day, I'm good. I'm a happy Alex. And that really worked for me. But then, since the first 3 months of my year are going to be really different, I knew January would be very busy with work and some other events. And so I also had a lot of ups and downs. And I had to also each day find some time for me to get through the month. And I didn't get ill at all, not even once, which was amazing. I was very clear with what I need every single day, which was amazing. So yeah, maybe it's similar. I don't know. I feel I didn't figure out how to structure my week, because my week was different every week, and it's going to be different next month as well. And in March it's going to be different from February. But this whole being connected to myself to check out where in a really good predictive, to truly check out what I truly need was definitely possible.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to add something because you just said like you weren't able to structure your week. What I like,
that's something I wish for, to have
yes,
regular weeks.
but
I don't
that's
know when that will
for
happen.
me too. I don't think, I mean, I think people who have like work every day, the same work, they can have like a regular schedule. I personally don't have that either. What I just want to clarify, because I don't like, that's the thing, I used to aim for having like a perfect structured week or a perfect structured day, and I don't have that. It's not that I know exactly what I'm going to do in that day or that day. It's more that I also take day by day now, and that way I can every, like the day before the day, so the evening before the next day, I look at my calendar and I structure my day so I have time for myself, and I can focus on the things that are my priorities and that are important to me. So now I found a way to structure my days without putting myself in a box, or without like aiming for something that's not possible with my lifestyle, because my day is, every day is different for me too. So I don't have a regular schedule as you. And it's just like finding a system or foundation, like just finding a system that works for you, I think is so important
for your life.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what I figured out this month, that I don't have to know the whole week in glance, but I know what I will do tomorrow. I will know at the evening before, and that helps me so much to kind of visualize the next day.
Actually, I'm the same way. Yeah.
So it's like just having a system that works for me. And I never had a system that worked, because I followed people or did systems of other people that had different lives than me. So it never worked. And I was always like, oh,
amazing.
Yeah. So now I feel like grounded in, oh, this is my life and this is how I can manage it. And I think that's really important, that you find, each of us find a way of living that suits our lifestyle and how we want to be.
Amazing. Wow. Yeah, I can totally relate to that, because when this month I was on tour on the weekends, and so what I had to do was I would ask the team, okay, you guys, when are we leaving the hotel tomorrow? So I went from when till when is breakfast in the hotel, and how long are we going to be in the car? So I knew the day before, okay, so I could get up at so and so and be alone in the hotel room, meditate, read, exercise a bit, and then I have breakfast with my colleagues. And then I can maybe go for a run, and then we check out and we're going to go in the car, and then I can read this book that I really want to read. Like those kind of things is what I figured out. And then I knew as soon as we get there, I cannot do anything for myself. I'll be part of the group. Or I knew, okay, I'm going to teach tomorrow. So when am I going to prepare? When I was back in Berlin, who can I have coffee with? Oh, I cannot at all because I want to go train somewhere. Will I be able to sleep? What am I doing tomorrow? Should I meditate or should I sleep longer?
Yeah.
Like all the
The small tiny pieces that you put together is like, okay, is it more important for me to have 8 hours of sleep, or is it more important for me to meditate and be grounded tomorrow morning? I feel the exact same way, and I just make a conscious decision on how I feel every day and how my day looks like, and if I have time in the rest of the day to meditate or not, right? It's like finding some way to sneak in all the self-care practices in a way that works, but not in this, like, I used to have a crazy schedule of, okay, in the morning I wake up at 5, I have 10 minutes to wake up, 10 minutes to meditate, 10 minutes to visualize, 10 minutes to journal. And I did that for half a year and I was burned out. Yes. And I didn't give myself time. I didn't go after what I needed. I was just like, I need to do this and this and this and this. It was kind of like checking off to-do lists. for my spiritual practices. That's not what it's supposed to be like. So yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, because just yesterday I watched a video of Jennifer Aniston saying, well, I have to get up in the morning and I do work out and meditate, and I first meditate, then I work out, and then I do intermediate fasting, and of course I'm gonna have to do that. I want to be a busy person. I want to be healthy for the next years. I need myself for my work. I need myself for my project. That's how I get up in the morning. Oh, I only get up at 8:30. She says, I sleep really long. I don't have children. So blah, 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 blah. And then Reese Witherspoon was sitting next to her and saying, well, I get up at 5 a.m. and then I meditate and then my child wakes up. And they both are entrepreneurs now and make movies and stuff. So they have their own projects and they really want to stay on top of it. And I was just thinking, shit, I have to become like them in order to get where I want to get. But it's also really lovely to hear your story. And I truly believe that if I would do that too, like you, I would also feel tired and burned out after a while.
Yeah, because you don't do it for yourself anymore. You do it for like fitting into a box or becoming somebody else, or become like, you have to create your own life and how you want to live. And if that works for you every single day doing the same thing, then yes, cool, do it. But I'm a Sagittarius. It doesn't work for me.
Oh, she's happy when she says that.
So funny, it's true.
What's Sagittarius again in German?
Schütze.
Okay, I have to check out Schütze. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't. So yeah, everybody is different, and
go
with what works for you.
And I'm just encouraged to take each and everyone as an individual. Yeah, and we can always try out things. It's amazing that you tried that out for half a year. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I tried it.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what's good for you and what's not.
It was hard. It was
and
really hard.
You can do it. You can always go back to that. Maybe one day in your life it'll suit your life.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe one day.
Yeah, when your children are going to school. I'm already saying plural.
Yeah.
And you have to get up early in the morning anyways, and all those things. It's gonna be fun. Anyways, yeah.
Yes. Do you want to add anything else?
I like that. I don't even know if I have to add anything. I feel like for me it's a wrap. It sounds nice.
Oh.
And I like the word juicy.
Yeah, it sounds round. It feels round. Yeah, for me too. I feel like we covered everything. I would be really interested in whoever is watching, whoever is listening and maybe watching, how you guys felt with the transition and how you stepped into 2020, and if you had any unexpected emotions or feelings or thoughts, and experiences, whatever came up. If you guys want to get in touch with us and maybe talk about the new year a little bit more, you can always do so over Instagram. I think that's where we both are most active on. My handle is Sophia Di Lola.
Definitely.
And Alex, yours is
Embrace Your Weirdness _Alex.
Exactly. That's it.
Work on the branding.
Yes.
Yeah, we put it in the show notes. You can ask us any questions, and I would also love to hear about your transitions and what you've been doing. And also, actually, I would also be interested in how you plan your life, your week, your day. I would love to hear how many people are going day by day or week by week, or have to see the whole year scheduled and then relax. Wow. This was our very first podcast. Thank you for spending some time with us. You just learned about how we transitioned into the new decade 2020 and about the 12 magical nights. You can subscribe here and find us on Instagram. We'd love to talk to you and hear from you. Lots of love. Evolve, align, and embrace. Yours, Alex and Sophia.